Morning everyone, it's Thursday cardio day. Time to get out there and get that heart pumping in, the blood flowing. Do anything you like, it really doesn't matter. Do a minimum of 10 minutes, try and get up to half an hour, but as long as you do something, remember 1 is better than 0. Now, I had a couple of conversations yesterday with people that really triggered thoughts in my mind that made me think I need to reiterate this with you guys. Now, you all have 28 days worth of exercise in the app for you to do over the course of any challenge that you sign up for, which is great, and you're all doing it, and we're getting stronger and stronger and fitter as time goes by. But not everybody signs up for the meal plan, and at the moment not everybody is putting pictures of what they eat into our Facebook group to cheer us on. So that's going to be our plan and our motivation for the rest of this challenge, and I too will put on what I eat to give you a little bit of a helping hand. But you must remember that the two things go together. You can't just have the fitness without the food. And the reason I thought about that is because somebody told me yesterday that they have signed up on an app called an ab challenge. Now, these things fly around social media 10 a penny, and they're just gimmicks really to get people to go to their website. All right, it makes people do more exercise, which I'm a big fan of, but you must remember at this time of year everyone is looking to shift a bit of that belly fat. And how are you going to do that? Do you think that by doing a few ab crunches every day it's going to get rid of the tire around your tummy? Because if you do, you are going to be wrong. So make sure that you listen up and learn that a lot of what happens around the mid region of your body is very important, but that it cannot be done by just doing a load of crunches. Number 1, you can't spot reduce, and number 2, you would have to burn so many calories doing those crunches that they don't burn many calories, so you'd have to be doing them all day, every day, probably more than that. There's not enough time to do it. Abs are made in the kitchen, so you've got to focus on that diet. Now, if you're not doing my meal plan that is set out for you to be controlled in terms of calories, portion size, quantities, balance, etc., then you've got to do it yourself. You've got to put the work in. But the two have to go hand in hand. These apps are not magic cures, as are personal trainers aren't magic cures either. You've got to do it. You've got to put the work in. We just guide the way. So I've got 6 things for you to think about today. Number 1 is that you need to eat less than you burn. All right? And that's where we're talking about calories and understanding the energy value of foods, but also portion size. So what if a food is slightly higher in calories? That's okay. Avocados, salmon, nuts, chocolate, crisps, that kind of stuff. If you know and you can balance it into your daily intake, then it's okay. But if they tip you over the edge and you're eating more than you're physically burning throughout a day, then it's going to be no good and you're not going to get those abs that you're after. So eat less than you burn is tip number 1. Number 2, also before we go on to number 2, if you eat whole foods most of the time, then it's really hard to overeat them. So eat good, clean, solid foods, but keep the portions under control. We want to be little people. We are little people. We don't need to overindulge. Number 2, plan it, time it, schedule it. Know when you're going to be eating and what you're going to be eating. Don't just wing it. You don't wing it with your exercises. If I didn't put in the calendar what you're going to do today, you'd get up and you wouldn't know what to do. So make sure you plan it. Know that you're having breakfast at 7 o'clock, then you're having a snack at 10 o'clock, then you're having lunch at 1 o'clock. Know what it is and when it is, and then you can move and you can wait, and there'll be no snacking and thinking about what you're doing in between each meal time. Number 3, think about your fluids. You need to make sure that you drink plenty of water. You can drink still water, fizzy water, tea, coffee to a certain extent. Just make sure you're rehydrating your body throughout the day, and also don't drink your calories. So careful with the type of fluids you are having. Don't shove loads of smoothies down your neck, because they are like meals and they're going to have lots of calories in them. So be careful on that one. Drink lots of water. Number 4, eat real whole foods. And that, what I mean is, when you look at your plate, I want you to know and name everything that you're having. Make sure that you understand, and you can look at your plate and you can say to your family or your kids, that's a piece of salmon, they're potatoes, that's broccoli, that's kale, they're carrots, they're peppers, etc. And you need to make sure you're getting in your 5 to 7 fruit and veg a day, and identify them. Remember, it needs to be picked from the tree or dug from the ground, not come out of a packet and off a production line from a factory. Number 5, we kind of talked about it a minute ago, that's portion size. Learn and see how much you're having. Try and remember that this much carbohydrate is what you need as a portion. Palm of the hand is what you need for your piece of protein. Half a plate full of fruit or veg or whatever it is you're having, the greenery. But make sure that you control those portions and don't be overindulging. We don't need to go to a restaurant and have an enormous steak just because that's what's on the menu. We need to share it with somebody, or don't order that one, get a smaller one, ask the waiter, etc. Be in control. And last but not least, don't undereat either, because you will put all of the hard work you're doing with your strength training and your fitness training to in the bin, basically. I can't think of the word that I wanted to say there, but don't undereat, because if you eat less than 1,200 calories in any one day, your body starts to become a really good fat storer, and we're trying to train it to be a good fat burner. And if it stores fat, then it eats away at muscle to give you enough energy, and all that lovely muscle tissue you're creating to keep your basic metabolism when you're sleeping up high, you start to eat away at and lose. So don't undereat either. You've got to get the balance right. Any questions, then text me through the app and ask me about it, or put some questions on Facebook. But those 6 rules are the ones we need to live by. Don't forget your food. The ab apps are not going to work on their own. You need to get the right balance of everything, including what you consume. There it is again. Hopefully you can see that. I can't tell because the camera's facing the other way. But any questions, give us a shout, and I will speak to you again tomorrow.